In a shocking and shameful attack on Jammu and Kashmir's Pahalgam, 28 innocent lives were lost when terrorists opened fire on tourists and families enjoying a peaceful day. Despite the world expressing their shock and condemning the act of violence, Canada has remained silent, and that too on this brutal attack. Not a word from Ottawa, even though countries like Turkey, China, Pakistan, and even Taliban and Iran have condemned the attack. So the question is, what is Canada waiting for? Well, this attack took place in Pahalgam, often referred to as mini Switzerland for its beauty. Terrorists identified as member of Pakistan-based Lashkar-e-Taiba group targeted tourists, gunning down the people as they enjoyed pony rides, picnicked, or visiting the eateries. Well, the senseless act left 28 people dead, including both local residents and the tourists. Security agencies have identified the suspected attackers as Asif Fauji, Suleiman Shah, and Abu Talha, all believed to be from Pakistan. These terrorists belong to a group called Resistance Front, a shadow organization of the Lashkar-e-Taiba. While most of the world mourned the lost lives, Canada chose to stay silent. Canada, a member of the G7 group, has often been very quick to speak on global issues. However, when it comes to issues directly impacting India, such as Khalistan movement or terrorist attack like this one, Canada stays oddly silent. Well, this raises question about Canada's true stance when it comes to supporting terrorism-free, peaceful nations like India. In stark contrast, even the United States President Donald Trump condemned the attack, calling it deeply disturbing. He stood in full support of India, stating that the US stands strong against terrorism and that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the people of India have their full support and deepest sympathies. The Indian government has, of course, condemned the attack, and efforts are ongoing to bring the terrorist to the justice. But again, why is Canada silent? Canada has long been criticized for its silence on Khalistan issue, right? For years, some individuals in Canada have openly supported separatist movements in India, particularly the Khalistan movement, which aims to create an independent Sikh state within India. Canada has failed to take a strong stance against these activities, even when extremist voices try to stir trouble over there. And now, when terrorists from Pakistan attack Indian civilians and tourists, Canada's silence on this issue speaks volume about its true diplomatic priorities. By staying silent on the Pahalgam attack, Canada is sending a troubling message. It doesn't stand with the victims of terrorism unless it suits its agenda. Now, this passive stance put Canada's proximity to extremist elements scrutiny. Then, in contrast, nations like the US and Turkey have openly condemned the attack, reinforcing their support for India's fight against terrorism. But Canada's lack of action raises serious question about its priority when it comes to supporting India's fight against terrorism. Now, coming back to home, then what can India do here? India has shown incredible strength and resilience in the face of these terrorist attacks. The Indian government continues to take action against terrorism, whether it comes from Pakistan-based group or any other global threat. However, the silence of countries like Canada raises concern. For Indians living abroad or for those who are fighting for peace and security, it is very important to keep pushing for greater international cooperation and to demand that countries, specifically those like Canada, have a strong stand against terrorism. India cannot be silent. The world must see that terrorism in any form is unacceptable. Countries like Canada that turn a blind eye to terrorist acts need to be held accountable. The world community needs to come forward, not just in words, but in actions to fight terrorism wherever it is found. India's fight against terrorism is one that resonates worldwide, and the silence of certain nations like Canada should not go unnoticed. We need to speak louder, act stronger, and stand united against terrorism. For the victims in Pahalgam and for all those who suffer because of this senseless violence.